A beautiful day to all my lovely students. In this video, I'm going to talk about some important foundational facts about fluency. Before everything else, let's discuss the reasons why you still cannot speak well in English. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the reasons why still cannot speak well in English. Even after learning English for good 13 years in schools, still you're unable to speak well. What is the reason? What are the reasons for you not being able to speak in English? Because you need to know where your problem lies. Before we put a solution to your problem, to know where the problem lies. Reason number one, according to my idea, is not spending enough time with English. Now, when it comes to Sinhalese, since it's your mother tongue, you get to spend a lot of time with Sinhala. That means you're surrounded by Sinhalese. In fact, most of your time is being spent with Sinhalese. But when it comes to English, that is not the case. You don't have English in your surrounding. You don't hear English as much. You don't get to talk in English as much. You are not spending enough time with English. Now, if this language English is there in your surrounding, but you would love to learn the language, you would love to learn to speak that language, then what do you need to do? You need to purposely invest time in learning English. And you're not doing that enough. Not spending enough time with English is one of the reasons why you still cannot speak well in English. So let's look at another reason. You're too shy to make mistakes and you're afraid to speak. Being afraid and being shy to speak in English. This sums up to your lack of confidence. So lack of confidence is one of the main reasons for your lack of proficiency in English. And this problem I'm going to address in my classes. This problem is one of the main problems that I address in my classes. Building up your confidence in the subject. This has to be done scientifically and we are doing it in our classes. So you're not confident enough to speak in English. So this can lead to poor spoken English levels. In order to become good at something, you need to be consistent in your effort. That means you need to be very consistent in learning and practicing English. That is if you want to become fluent. And this is the case with everything you do in your life. If you need to start a business, if you need to reach a high level in your business, then you need to be consistent in your efforts, right? If you want to learn another subject, you need to be consistent. So same applies to learning English as well. You're not consistent enough, right? This is one of the reasons why you still cannot speak well in English. This is a problem that we will address in our classes as well. Your motivation comes and goes. Sometimes you are very excited about something and sometimes you're not. So you need to know that in order to learn something properly, you need to take action and you have to be consistent in your actions and efforts. So can you be consistent in your learning? Yes, that's possible with the guidance from the right teachers. Next reason is you learn English from the book like grammar rules and all, but you don't apply English in your real life situations. Now learning to speak English is not something in the book, just like you learn grammar. Learning to speak English is a practical skill. It has to be practiced. It has to be practically done. You need to apply English in your real life situations. It's a skill. Speaking is a skill, not something theoretical in the book. It's a skill that you need to build in yourselves and practice. And through practice only, you're going to get good at it. Another reason, according to me, why you cannot speak well in English still is learning English in your mother tongue most of the time and trying to translate in your head from your mother tongue to English. Learning English from Sinhalese and translating in your head, you try to translate from Sinhala to from your mother tongue to English. This is a very time-consuming process and it puts an additional pressure on your brain and you cannot become really fluent that way. If you are translating in your head from your mother tongue to English, you're not going to become fluent in English. You can learn to a certain extent, but you're not going to get good at it. What you need to do is, if you need to become fluent in English or speak well in English, you need to stop translating in your head and start thinking in English. Thinking in English itself. Start thinking in English itself. Again, this is only if you want to become fluent in English. This method is for someone who really would love to speak well in English. Next reason is relying on your native language to learn English. You can't think of improving your English fluency if you use your native language more. Not only that, don't try to convert the same patterns and styles of your native language English. That's not how it works. The more you practice, the more you will learn, and the faster you will acquire English fluency skills. Another reason is you don't apply English to real life situations. You spend a lot of time maybe reading and learning English, but that's not enough. You got to use what you've learned. That means you got to apply English in your real life situations. You got to use it more. Another reason that I've recognized is you lack a good plan to learn English. If you wish to learn English, you need to have a good plan or a method to learn it. You got to make or create the learning methods according to the level of the English proficiency. You need to find out the areas in which you lack the language skills, be it speaking, writing, or even grammar. You got to find out the areas which you have to improve and make the plan accordingly. If you cannot help you need to get the proper guidance, the correct guidance from a correct teacher, and this will help you grasp the language faster. These are the main problems that I've recognized for your lack of proficiency in English, for you not being able to speak well in English. So I'm going to resolve these problems in my lessons, and in my next videos. Happy learning. Thank you.